Cory Sandhagen returns this weekend to take on Deiveson Figueiredo in a fight night main event in Iowa. We also have in the CoMain event, Rener de Ritter, one double champ, versus Bo Nickal, who is one of the most decorated Calder's level wrestlers of all time. In the featured fight of the night, we have Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. We have Montel Jackson taking on Daniel Marcos, and we have the hardest hitting 145-pounder Jeremy Stephens making his long-awaited return. I mean, we all wanted this return from Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens is taking on Mason Jones. I don't really know who Mason Jones is. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't think I've ever seen Mason Jones fight. But let's talk about it. I'm only going to be talking about the main event and the co-main event because, let's be honest, guys, that's all you guys really care about. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe, dude. We just hit 800 subscribers, and it means a lot. But let's get to 900 subscribers, dude. 900 subscribers doesn't sound too bad. Let's talk about it. The co-main event, Bot Nickal versus Rener de Ritter. I don't really know about this fight, dude. I mean, both of these guys, their striking is pretty mediocre. We've seen in RDR's first fight in the UFC against GM3. GM3 was piecing Rener de Ritter up. Until the finish, GM3 had a lot of good moments, and it was a very back-and-forth, sloppy fight with no head movement whatsoever. And in Bo Nickal's last fight against Paul Craig, it was pretty lackluster as well. You know, usually when you're fighting Paul Craig, you're an up-and-coming prospect, and you should probably get a finish like Kyle Barajo did. But Bo Nickal, he just spammed some overhand, didn't really land. His striking didn't look that good. And they didn't try to take down Paul Craig once. I understand that there is a little bit of a submission threat with Paul Craig. You know, he's submitted guys like Nikita Krylov, Jamal Hill, Magomed Ankalaev. I understand there is a little bit of a submission threat. But still, dude, you got to be taking Paul Craig down. You're one of the greatest college level wrestlers of all time. And I don't know, dude. I don't know how I see this fight playing out. I mean, obviously, Bo Nickal has, like, explosive takedowns. And striking, it's getting better. We didn't see that all on the Paul Craig fight, like I just stated. But still, dude, de Ritter, he's a great grappler. I'm not going to deny that he's a great grappler, you know. It may be sloppy, which it definitely is. His takedown entries are very slow, and his stand-up is a little bit limited. But I just think over 3 rounds, Bo Nickal's pace, his wrestling, his control, and his physics. Bo Nickal's just one of those guys who's just like built. He's not, I wouldn't say Bo Nickal's muscular, but Bo Nickal, he's like wide, you know. He's not very fit, but he's just more physical. He has a better physicality, and I think he's just gonna smother de Ritter, dude. I really just think Bo Nickal is gonna like plot armor his way to a decision. I don't really see him getting a finish. I mean, a lot of people are predicting Bo Nickal to get like a late finish. Bo Nickal is not one of these top guys in the middleweight division. He's probably not going to fight for a title. But still, dude, he can be something good. I think Bo Nickal is just going to be able to implement his wrestling, and Bo Nickal's going to get it done. Rener de Ritter, expect him to land some good shots on the feet early on, but Bo Nickal, he'll eventually take this fight down. And over the course of 3 rounds, I do have Bo Nickal winning this. Now, let's talk about the co-main event, Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Alright, dude, let's talk about the main event, Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Dude, I'm gonna be honest, I've never been a fan of either of these guys, dude. Cory Sandhagen, he's always just seemed like a guy who always loses the fights where it matters most. I mean, every single big fight that Cory Sandhagen's been in, he's lost. It's pathetic, really. And Deiveson Figueiredo, he's one of the flyweight goats, but obviously, guys, Brandon Moreno owns this guy. Brandon Moreno beat this guy in the trilogy, or not even a trilogy, a quadrilogy, and Brandon Moreno made this guy run out of the flyweight division, so he obviously can't be that good. I'm joking, of course, but I don't even know who's gonna win this fight. I'm not gonna say I'm not familiar, but I've never watched a lot of these guys fight. I've rewatched tape to make my prediction, but live it's just a little bit of a different experience, you know. I don't really know who I think's gonna win this, dude. This is a very hard fight for me to predict. Cory Sandhagen, obviously, he's a good striker, dude. I like Cory Sandhagen in terms of his fight style, just not really anything else. He's just I don't know, dude. But Cory Sandhagen, he's this guy who circles. He teeps and jabs, dude. He maintains distance, and he does a lot of step knees. You know, obviously flying knee Frankie Edgar in like the shadow realm. But last fight, he did look pretty underwhelming against Umar Nurmagomedov. He was just throwing up beakers and test tubes, and yeah, dude. I think what Sandhagen needs to do is just drag Figgy in like the later rounds, and I think this is honestly just gonna be one of those fights where Sandhagen just technically outclasses a guy. One of those fights where Sandhagen just gets back in the win column against someone who's a good fighter. You know, Figueiredo's definitely a top fighter. But I just think that Cory Sandhagen is just going to let his volume, he's going to enter flow state, and he's going to let his tempo just take over, dude. He's just going to be piecing up Figgy, putting some jabs in. I don't know how Figueiredo wins this, dude. Figueiredo, he relies on his power a little bit too much. You know, he relied on that Jan fight. He took a couple rounds off, and that's what costed him that Jan fight, dude. So I think he should target. I think Figueiredo should just throw some leg kicks to slow the movement, because if you don't do that, then Cory Sandhagen just can be circling all around you, throwing jabs, like I said before. So Figueiredo just needs to use the leg kicks. He needs to land heavy combos, dude. Like I said, Figueiredo relies on his his punch power, and obviously that's not as clear in the bantamweight division as it was in the flyweight division, because obviously moving up 10 pounds you're going to be able to not hit as hard. But I think Sandhagen's cardio, his range control, and his just adaptability, dude. Cory Sandhagen is really good at just like changing game plans mid-fight, switching. You know, I'm just so disappointed by his performance in that Umar Nurmagomedov fight. He looked really underwhelming. I think if he really pushed for it, he could have won, and he didn't push for it. I just think Figueiredo, he may have like some moments early. He's going to fade eventually, dude. His cardio, we've seen it at bantamweight. It's not great. It's definitely not bad. At flyweight, his cardio was a little bit better. But still, dude, his cardio is not great at bantamweight. And Figueiredo might have some moments early. He can definitely land against Sandhagen. But be honest, guys. Do you really see Sandhagen getting flatlined? Do you really see Sandhagen getting knocked out by a former flyweight? I mean, Cory Sandhagen's been around for a while. He's fought a lot of the top guys, and I don't think that this flyweight's gonna come up and he's just gonna beat him, dude. I think he's just gonna volume. He's gonna out-volume him. I watched MMA Guru's video on this fight, and he said that it's pretty much the same thing. Cory Sandhagen was just gonna use his volume, and he was probably gonna get Deiveson Figueiredo by a doctor stoppage. And honestly, I agree with that. Doctor stoppage. I can just see Figueiredo's eye just getting all puffy. It's all messed up. And Dr. steps in, Cory Sandhagen wins. So my prediction for this fight is Cory Sandhagen by unanimous decision, probably like a 49-46. I can see Figueiredo taking the first round, or maybe even a 50-45, dude. I'm not very high on Figueiredo at bantamweight. Flyweight, sorry. He was actually pretty good. But you look at the guys that Figueiredo's fought at bantamweight so far, dude. He got a win against Rob Font. You know, that's an okay win, I guess. Then he got a win against Cody Garbrandt, dude. Cody Garbrandt in the big 24, dude. Cody Garbrandt is nothing now. Then he got a win against Cheeto Vera, and obviously Cheeto Vera, it's Cheeto Vera, dude. He's not that good. And then obviously the second he faced an actual good competitor like Peter Yan, he lost, and pretty clearly. I don't know how good Figueiredo is at 37. He's a bantamweight, and I just don't think he's gonna be able to win this fight. I mean, how old is Cory Sandhagen, dude? Cory Sandhagen's not that old, is he? 33. Yeah, he's in his early 30s, dude. I see Cory Sandhagen taking this easy. He's just gonna out-volume him. You just look at everything. Deiveson Figueiredo's not gonna be able to take Cory Sandhagen down. I mean, Umar Nurmagomedov had some struggles taking down Cory Sandhagen. Eventually, he was able to get the takedowns in that fight. But overall, Cory Sandhagen had some decent takedown defense in that fight. I mean, he realistically just lost. He lost that fight on the stand-up against Umar Nurmagomedov. And I think he's not going to make that same mistake twice. Cory Sandhagen is just going to... He's so confident, dude. This is why a lot of people like Cory Sandhagen, because he just has that weird, like, smirk where he's just so confident going into the fights. A lot of these interviews, you see Cory Sandhagen just being respectful. And Figueiredo, he's a great competitor, but he's just not good enough for Cory Sandhagen. Cory Sandhagen by decision. That is my prediction, guys. And thank you much for watching.